be starting with the Illusion of Gaia run in just a short moment, so bringing it over to Zheal, Bowie the Hero, and Puexel on the couch.
Hi there, guys. My name is Bowie the Hero.
My name is Zheal. Hi.
And we have...
And I'm Puexel.
So, yeah, this is Illusion of Gaia. We're going to be doing an any % run race, rather. And, yeah, this is an action RPG on the Super Nintendo, part of the Soul Blazer trilogy made by Quintet, who also made Robotrek, you might have seen earlier in the marathon as well. Preceded... Oh, this is and then... was then... I guess preceded. No, what's the word? Succeeded by... Terra Enigma as well. So
yeah,
a great
this is and this is the last Quintet RPG to not have been seen before in RPG Limit Break 2 until today.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure to run it. Yeah, we'll probably just get started, I guess, if you're good to go as well, Zheal.
I'm ready. We're playing on button type 2 because we want to have a free A button to mash text.
Yeah, even though it's not used, it does still allow us to mash forward text as well. So we can mash with 3 buttons rather than 2. So that's nice. Yeah.
Do you want me to count you guys down then?
That'd be great. Yeah.
All right. On.
Good luck.
3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, Prox, if you want to start off just by doing like a basic brief story stuff, and then we can...
All right, so sure, well, we're just getting introduced to the main character and his friends here. Main character goes by the name of Will, and he is a young adventurer explorer, the son of the older adventurer explorer Ullman. And they went on a voyage to the Tower of Babel 1 year ago from when the game starts, and Will just suddenly woke up back home with no memory of what happened or what happened to his father. So, I guess we're now getting introduced to Will's psychic powers that he became aware of after returning from the Tower of Babel, and we have a little tutorial here on using telekinesis, which lets him pull certain types of objects closer to him, like that statue there, and also allows him to cheat at cards, as we're about to do here too.
Yeah, the idea is to pick the ace of diamonds, and that's any one of those cards. So.
One glorious thing about this game, too, is just how fast you can mash through text, too, and it's very ironic that that's actually exclusive to the English version of this game, too. There's quite a few version differences between the English and Japanese versions, but the most notable one for speedrunning is that in the English version, text boxes all draw out an entire box in one frame. So by using multiple buttons on their controllers, they're just able to fly through these cutscenes super fast.
Okay, so in terms of what's been going on, we went back home at the end of night, and there's a young girl called by the name of Kara who came into our house, and she's with her trusty pig, Hamlet. It turns out that she's actually the princess of the nearby castle, Edward's castle. She's the daughter of King Edward, and she gets brought back to the castle by the soldiers, and then Hamlet just heads out as well. Yeah, so yeah, that's Kara. She'll play a bit of an important role in the game, I guess.
Just a little. Whether you like it or not.
Definitely the latter, yeah. Okay, so at this point we're going to we have some snail pie overnight.
With whipped cream.
With whipped cream. And then we get told that there was a letter that arrived that told us to go to the castle and bring the crystal ring, and we're like, all right, sure. At which point our grandma Lola just starts singing, and we learn a song.
Yeah, because in addition to being an explorer, Will is also an accomplished flautist too, and you'll be learning a couple flute melodies throughout the game, which just for story and like as keys basically. And Lola's melody is the first and most important one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we get to see the glorious Mode 7 Overworld map, which does actually have some speed tech to it. They're actually able to input their destination just before the list at the bottom appears, and then also normally when you reach where you're going, the camera zooms all the way out and then back in, but by holding the start button, they're actually able to skip that animation. And I want to say just doing that at every opportunity is somewhere between like 1 and 2 minutes saved over the course of the whole game.
Who is it? It's me. So we go and visit Kara first of all, and she tells us that she wants to escape at some point, so we're going to try and help her do that. But first of all, we need to go and see the king, because he has asked us to arrive. And
we get a fun little speed boost here, too, getting thrown out. Something very much worth pointing out, too, is that in order to run in this game, you have to double tap the D-pad, which takes a fair bit of skill in order to be able to kind of really optimize your movement without having a bad rhythm for setting up the dashes or bonking into stuff.
And that chat with Ed is actually very, very hard, because you have like the second text box, you have to then input a down input to then say no, so that he immediately throws you in prison rather than having to wait.
Yeah, and of course they're both now playing around during this little kind of time-based cutscene here with a little minor glitch that I like to call guard dashing, which is where they start doing a double tap run and then interrupted by dashing, and then press the button again, and that lets them dash guard while dashing. It's mostly just for screwing around like this, but
it does come in handy once or twice.
There are a few situations where you can actually block enemy projectiles doing this without having to stop moving.
I believe it's like I think it's a 7 or 9 frame window where when you let go of the dash to kind of re-input something else. We're able to do this with attacks as well, but they work very differently depending on character. So Will's not the only character you can play in this game. Spoilers.
Yeah, and then also right here, too, we get introduced to the fact that this game doesn't have depth physics, because they're able to stand in that corner, and then, because this is meant to be kind of another tutorial about Will's telekinesis, where you use it to pull the dark gem, which is an enemy drop, out from that enclosed area. But if you just stand in the corner, it'll fall into your head, and you'll collect it and save like a second or so. All right, and now we are coming into Edward's prison, which is the first dungeon.
Okay, so it's fairly straightforward for the most part. Again, when you defeat enemies and you defeat all the enemies on a screen, you gain an upgrade, and we're going to be avoiding this for the most part. Thank you very much, Mr. Skeleton.
Yeah, because there's 3 stats in this game, HP, strength, and defense, all of which pretty much do what you think they do. And like Billy just said, the way you're intended to progress is just to kill every enemy in a screen, and then one of those stats will permanently go up by 1, but not doing that adds a lot of challenge to the game. Then you're also starting to see them use a glitch I call orb canceling too, because there's quite a few like specific enemies in this game where when you kill them, they release a light orb that then like either destroys a wall or door or like creates a bridge or something. But once you've killed that enemy and the orb appears, if you quickly press select twice to go in and out of the item menu. When you come back, collision detection will already be changed, so they can just pass right through the doors before they actually explode.
Okay, so this is kind of introducing us to the idea that the flute is really important. The flute, we not only do we attack with the flute, but we also use it to kind of like play songs at different points, and they have a different variety of things that they can do: solve puzzles, progress the story, and so on and so forth. So yeah, Lola's melody is one of the most important, and we'll play that the most throughout the course of the run as well. So.
And then,
yeah, go ahead.
And then right after they kill this specific snake here and go into the what are called dark spaces, which are basically save points, but also places where you can talk to the goddess Gaia. This is also where we get introduced to our first transformation, which is Friedan the Knight. It's kind of interesting because in the Japanese version, it is possible to skip this because Friedan has a longer sword than Will's flute, which you're meant to use here in order to hit a switch to create a bridge. But in the English version, you do need to get Friedan here.
I didn't even know. You can skip this in Japanese.
Okay, so yeah, it's funny you say that as well, because we actually are able to skip some of the moments we need Friedan's length, because we have the ability to use dash attacking to kind of get a little bit further, but we'll see how that goes as we go. Yeah, so it's very important to get this bit here kind of like really fast, because you can get an early cycle on this thing here
balls,
like that.
Yeah, very nice.
Whew.
And they both got it. Nice.
Nice. Okay, and hopefully, I don't need one, but hopefully we get a health drop here.
Yeah, only very specific enemies in this game can actually drop health, and it's I don't actually know what the drop rate is offhand, but it's not super high. But yeah, those brown skeletons and then the brown bats earlier in the prison are among them.
Going to do a jump attack here, and what we do is you kind of jump through the tile of narrative that it kind of like allows the cutscene to continue. We jump as far as we can behind Lily, which just allows us to get a quick, a quicker exit. Just quickly, I'm gonna ask the chat to participate in something that I like to call a little team building exercise. I've been doing this on my stream for a while, so if those of my community are watching, make sure to help us with the carnage of trying to spell out individually. I want to see no duplicates. The next and very, very long text box. One of the longest text boxes in this game.
It's a momentous occasion. We need to take our time to truly appreciate the delicious item we're about to acquire.
Yeah. So I need you to spell out perfectly, no duplicates. YOU_VE space. You found a large, yummy roast leg of yak. I want to watch that VOD back and just see carnage in the chat.
And then yeah, this is a story item that you need after the next dungeon.
Okay. Whoa, okay. 9:55 exit. 9:58. It's a good start.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it would be worse.
That was a really good start. Okay, so like sub 10 leaving Edward's Castle was kind of like the standard that we kind of want to keep ourselves to, so that's good to get. Really nice opening. So we head back with Kara in tow, and we come back here to find out that Will's house has been ransacked, and there's a little
Calling card.
Yeah, on the wall here by the Jackal. A Jackal is a Jackal. The Jackal. Don't worry about him. Oh no! Really, he's a very important character. He'll show up a lot.
A lot. Yep.
So yeah, we leave, and the girls do one of the quickest turnarounds in history.
And we have instantaneous house cleaning here too.
Insane.
Yeah.
There we go. So we're basically, Lily is the young girl who we saw in the underground, who was kind of helping us out in the prison, and she tells us, "Come to my village of Vittoria."
Yeah, she can turn into a dandelion. By the way, totally normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think she's like a fairy or something, or
something like
that. Yeah.
So she says that don't worry, Grandpa Bill and Grandma Lola haven't been killed brutally by the Jackal. Just come to my village, play Lola's melody, which somehow unlocks this. Don't ask.
Yeah, I think the village is invisible to outsiders. I think is the lore here.
Yeah, right.
But unless you're from the tribe, which since your family kind of is, I guess, playing the flute.
Yeah, Will's mother is from Vittoria village. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is a very little minor speed up here too. By going in and out of that house, it actually makes Lily and Kara instantly move to the stairs there, because you have to talk to them before you can go up all the way up the stairs, and if you don't go in the door, you have to sit and wait for them.
So we're going to do a small thing here. Whenever you get a skill, you actually can start charging beforehand, before you actually get it, because touching the statue is actually what happens. But what we do is we stand far enough to the right that we unleash a Psycho Dash early, and it pushes us back a few pixels, about half a tile, so we can get out a few frames earlier from each
time saves.
dark space. The most important. Most important.
Yeah, because one just really kind of cool thing about this game is that just the way you play the dungeons changes as you progress, as you learn new abilities. Like they just learned the Psycho Dash, which is Will's first combat ability. Like it's a required. It's required for breaking down walls, like starting right here, in order to get a key item you need. But it also does a lot more damage than Will's flute attacks, and that they're going to be using that in a couple occasions too for quick kills on enemies.
So we need to collect 2 Incan statues. So we're going to go grab the first from Itri Village, then we're going to head over to what's called the Moon Tribe Camp, and we're going to go get the second. These are items that help us progress through the next dungeon. Our first kind of like major dungeon in the game. You can kind of like separate the major from the less than important dungeons by the sound.
By the exactly. Because every major dungeon in the game's story has unique music, all of which is really, really good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're coming up on the Moon Tribe Cave, though, which is pretty annoying.
Yeah.
To do because you're intended to have killed all the enemies in Edward's prison and leveled up, in particular your strength stat a bit. But not having done that, you are only still doing 1 damage with a normal hit or 2 with a jump attack against these caterpillar enemies here, and you do have a somewhat tight time limit to kill all 6, I think, of them in order to get the second statue. Yeah, so Bowie's doing a little manipulation there by kind of approaching them diagonally, because if you line up in a straight row or column with the caterpillars, they can roll at you, and if one of them kind of breaks away and rolls all the way to the bottom of the map, that's really, really bad.
Yeah. So we both did it quite simply and comfortably.
Those were really good fights from both of them.
So, funnily enough, normally when games get brought over from Japan to the West, they normally made them a little bit easier in certain aspects in the West. Funnily enough, we have 20 seconds to do it in the Western version. It's 60 seconds in Japanese.
They have 2 less health in the Japanese version too. It's ridiculous. It's kind of it's just kind of a shame the Japanese version is so much slower because of the text, because it's a fair bit easier. There
are loads of things that the Japanese version allows us to do actually over the Western version, but the text speed is just so slow compared to it that it's just not worth it, really.
Yeah, so we're coming into the Incan ruins now, which is the first major story dungeon.
So we see Lily go through the wall. Oh yeah. Okay, so this is our first dungeon, the Incan Ruins. Again, we're going to be skipping most of the things. We're going to be charging our Psycho Dash wherever possible to be able to get quick kills on enemies like that. The reason we killed that one is because he will be able to hit us when we come back to this room and progress the story a little bit.
Yeah, and then they're going to kill another one in this next room to open up a shortcut to get back out after getting the key for the bridge. Yeah, and like Zheal there actually just got a double hit and killed the statue in 1 hit too. That does require some fairly specific positioning to do.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the reason we have to do that is because when we can actually just press the block below here.
Yeah, because the kind of the trigger tile for doing this extends a little bit above where that statue is. So you can't actually see it, but there's a hole there that they put the block into.
Yeah. There's a little bit of RNG, but there you can see the guard dashing actually working and doing its job. Yeah. Yeah, the idea is to, when you are trying to do charging and keep the running going, you need to make sure that you are just not kind of firing too early with your direction, so you don't do a jump attack like I did.
Yeah. Now we're coming up on the first kind of real sequence break in the Illusion of Gaia run too, because you're intended to actually go to a different part of the ruins and get Freedan. But if you dash into the wall and attack, you can extend your flute range enough to hit that statue. Nice health drop.
Lucky boy.
And then Zheal also is doing a ramp boost glitch right there too, where he runs to the top of a sideways ramp and does a jump attack with specific timing, and that lets you kind of instantly build momentum so that you just go flying off without having to go all the way up and then run down like you're intended to.
And we went to go and find an herb on the side there. Yeah, we need a herb here because we're actually going to use it. And normally, like Marathon Safety would say that we shouldn't, but Zheal and I are bad boys, so we're not going to worry about that. We're going to be using that to kind of get some health back quickly because we need it for a cutscene or like kind of like a story trigger later on. But yeah. Those slimes as well that appear, like the green slimes, can sometimes appear at really hot, can appear early and like they can hit you. So yeah, it's kind of annoying. Now this is the next sequence break. You're meant to go to a deeper part of the dungeon and find a song and play it here. Again, then it lights up this tile, but we don't actually need to do it. I know that this is the tile to stand on, and then you give it enough time, and kaboom.
Yep. Yeah, you don't either need to learn or play the Melody of Winds in order to be able to open the door. All right, and that's pretty much it for the Incan ruins. Now place the 2 statues, and then you get ready to fight Kastoth, who's the first boss.
Come on.
It is technically possible to do this as well, but it's way faster and safer and more consistent to do it as Freedan, because when you fight bosses in this game, your strength stat is totally irrelevant. The damage you do is based on which character you are. You do 1 damage as Will, 2 as Freedan, and 3 as somebody else we'll be seeing later.
Yeah. It is possible to one-cycle this boss as well, and obviously we're going to try our best to do this. And we'll explain it afterwards, but we'll focus.
We want to
first.
see that too. That's the I consider that the most difficult trick in the game, basically, and it's really, really tight. All right, so it's 5 hits on each of Catstod's hands. Then his eyes will open, and he can actually cause damage.
Nope, not for me.
Let's see, but the crystal patterns there are random too, and there's safe spots you can stand in for each pattern. Ooh.
No.
Yeah, the second crystal has to be vertical to get the 1 cycle, basically. And because it wasn't, we don't get it.
Because yeah, I mean the reason this 1 cycle is so hard is that you need some RNG to line up in your favor in addition to having basically 20 almost frame perfect hits on his head.
Yeah. So the first hit has to be double frame perfect. Well, it doesn't have to be, but given this that the first hit is double frame perfect, meaning the final frame active frame of hitbox on your attack marries up with the very first active hurt box for Castoth. You then have to hit the next 19 hits with an 18 frame window, meaning that 1 more attack has to be frame perfect, and the next 18 have to be 1 frame within frame perfect.
Yeah, you can't just mash your attack button too. There is a very specific kind of rhythm you have to get into in order to have a shot at the 1 cycle.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I mean, not getting it means you lose like 20-ish seconds or so. We're not talking like a run killer.
Yeah, it's not major. Yeah, it's like about 15, 17 seconds, I'd say. Yeah, for sure. And it's really good to get. I mean, unfortunately, neither of us got it, but it's integral that the second crystal he fires has a more vertical pattern because you can fire it more vertically or more horizontally, and it forces you off the center tile. Okay, so the next kind of like skip here. I know that Zheal has a setup for this. It's very hard. I'm not going to do it, but if he might.
I'm thinking.
I think this
you're thinking not.
I think this saves like 2 seconds if you get
3
it.
seconds.
3 seconds.
Yeah, but
okay.
but if you don't get it, you lose a lot of time. So, yeah, you can basically.
Let's go.
You gonna go for it? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good luck. I'll let him do it first. Got it?
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not so hard.
Yeah, so he basically was just getting, because normally the background changes to show the sea instead of blackness, and it is possible to jump off right as that's happening, and then it just saves you having to wait for the background to change before you regain movement control.
Yeah, the entire jump animation is kind of like taking it out of that. But yeah, there's a certain pixel to stand on basically, and I just wasn't going to go with it. But yeah, if you miss it, you have to climb all the way back up the.
You lose 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Risky. I like it. There is a setup. I haven't learned it, but I'm pretty sure Zheal will teach me after the.
It's just a
the
visual
race.
cue.
Yeah. Like a specific pixel of like Will's hair touching the guy's face. It's great.
And then I guess for the story, we found the Incan gold ship, but then found out it was all a dream too. It's actually in ruins, but our friends somehow made it through the ruins and found us.
So I should note at this point, I guess, that this game has multiple names. In Japan, it was known as Gaia Gensoki. It was called Illusion of Gaia here, obviously in North America. But in Europe and Australia, it was called Illusion of Time, which is a very fitting name as well as Illusion of Gaia. Come on, fish, don't do this to me. Thank you.
Yeah, so we've got a couple minutes worth of story basically here too, with kind of bonding with Kara.
Bonding with Kara, yeah. I'd say that if we have any donations, now would be a great time to read them.
Yeah, because this day, once you've hit one of the fish, you just have to wait basically until the time advances. So here's some donations, Jaga.
Alrighty, let's go. Thank you very much. We do have a $20 donation by Linnacy, or Linnacy. Hey Bowie and Zheal, good luck on the run. Just wanted to say that Bowie has been a beacon for my speedrunning career the last year. Last RPG LB, my depression caught up to me and crashed me really hard. But Bowie's stream and community have helped me pull me from that dark place. Your charisma is something to be admired, and the charm you bring to both your stream and your work. Thank you for the joy you have brought not just me, but your whole community, and allowing me to be part of that.
Thank you.
Also, this donation going to call Ryu Chipment. Chipment? You know why.
Yeah.
We also have a $25 donation by Heina Müller. Good luck to both Zheal and Bowie. We do have a $100 donation by Spare or Esper. Shout out to Jagamouth on the mic. Shout out to Bowie and Zheal. Good luck on the run. So how much more do we have time for?
If we could just butt in here for a second, this is the only real kind of randomness in the raft sequence too, because in order to progress here, you need to catch enough fish to get up to full health, and the fish pattern is random. They're able to kind of short-circuit that a little bit by using that herb they got in the Incan ruins to get 8 HP back.
Yeah, fun fact, this is the only screen outside of completing the game that doesn't have the HUD at the top. It's because you're meant to be able to see the red star in the background. It's a very important part of a puzzle coming up. Hey, puzzle question.
But yeah, once they're past the fishing, really the rest is just text mashing and waiting for time cues. So we could probably have like another donation or two.
Certainly. We do have the $36 donation as promised by a previous runner, MS Kane. $36 for 36 random encounters in Curse of the Azure Bonds. Thanks for watching, thanks to Dell for commentating and counting, and don't worry Joe, you aren't dead. We do have $25 donation by Not Alum. Good luck, or best of luck to both runners. We do have another $100 donation by Toby Camp. Great event, great cause. Looking forward to the IOG race. Come on, Bowie. Sub 2, let's go.
I like the first bit of text on where Zheal is right now too, because Will basically narrates himself falling unconscious from scurvy. I mean, kind of like with RoboTrek yesterday. The translation for this game is a bit rough at spots. And and then we also get to see Turbo the dog, who exposed the fake mayor in RoboTrek yesterday. Little less of a role here today, but did help that fisherman find Will on the beach.
Indeed. Turbo the dog also dies and is reincarnated as a goat in Soul Blazer, and is also the trusty companion of Mei Lin in Terranigma as well.
Yeah, it's Quintet's mascot, basically, in their RPGs.
Final Fantasy have chocobos, we got good boys.
Alright, so they're coming into Phrygia, the next kind of major town area, and there's a couple kind of plot triggers they have to hit in order to be able to go to the diamond mine, the next dungeon. Like they have to go to the laborer trading post in the corner there, and then I guess just.
This is an incredibly dark video game.
Yeah. And then, so we find out where Will's friend Eric is, because if you actually go to the hotel, you'll find out Eric disappeared.
Yeah, he got picked up for to be added to the labor camp.
This is where we see our macho hero breaking down a door with his flute, too.
But yeah, Eric gets kind of taken by the laborers to try and like put him to work, and then we find out that Sam tells us that we should go to the diamond mines to kind of like save all of the laborers. In the 100% route, you do save a few more than we're going to. We're going to save one, and then we'll just leave him to help out his friends. I'm sure he'll be fine. This is actually one of the most difficult dungeons, I think, at high level, just because of how many very, very tricky turns there are and how very scary taking damage can be.
Yeah, and there's some RNG with the purple eyeball enemies too, with their movement and fire patterns.
Yeah, we have to do one of the longest death warps as well. We're going to be. We haven't really talked about it, but if you look on the top, there's DP and it says 0 and then 20. Whenever you get 100, we've been beating up enemies and they drop little items. When we pick those up, they count up to 100. Whenever you get 100, you get 1 heart. If you have 1 heart and you die, you respawn in the room that you died, and all the enemies that you defeated are also defeated still. If you have 0, you are transported back to the beginning of the dungeon with every single enemy defeated back alive. This is very annoying if you're like playing casually, but for this, it really helps us to exit dungeons quickly when we need to. The only caveat to this is it makes it very, very dangerous when you have to do very, very long dungeon treks such as this one here. If I was to die early at this point, I would be crying right now. No.
Yeah, because there are several places in the game where it is so easy to die too. Like against Castot, the first boss, they would have died in 2 hits because of how far behind their stats were.
Yeah. So now we're going to be using a lot of Psycho Dash to be able to one-shot enemies that we haven't got the strength to defeat very quickly anyway. And we're going to be doing this is a monstrous room for movement, I should say. Remember that we have to double tap to run. Of course you're going to do that, mate. Of course you are.
And then, as part of the setup for the upcoming Death Warp 2, they are kind of optimally, you do want to take damage here and there. to start wearing down your health, so that when you are ready to take the intentional death, that it only take like 1 or 2 hits to set it up.
Yeah, so taking early hits. So on the first screen, there was like a lizard man that can move left, and if he moves left, you take an early hit, which puts a lot more pressure on you to be a lot more precise going forward.
Here we get to show off again the fact that we can use the Dark Friar without actually having gotten the text for it.
But the Dark Friar is a dark power that only the Dark Knight Freedan can use, of course.
That's a lot of dark.
Yeah. In the dark, dark town, there's a dark, dark street. Down the dark, dark street, there's a dark, dark house. In the dark, dark house.
Yeah, the Dark Friar, really, really useful ability. It does more damage than Freedan's basic sword swing, but because when you shoot it, it starts moving and then gradually speeds up. If you're very close to an enemy when you release it, you can get a double hit because you knock the enemy back and then it past the path of the fireball and then it hits them again.
Yep.
So you can insta kill most of the enemies at this point with a good setup for it.
Oh, actually, I lied. We saved 2. There's 1.
Oh.
So we have to, we get the Dark Friar so we can defeat the enemy up the top, which then gets rid of the barrier between us. We can use the slide to go all the way across and get the elevator key. And now we can do our death walk.
Because, the place they need to use the elevator key is way, way back at the beginning of the diamond mine. So rather than trek all the way back up, they're just going to run out the rest of their health and poof. But in order for this to work, by the way, they do need to have less than 100 dark gems. Because like Bowie said a bit ago, if they actually had enough gems, you'd just reload in the same room.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get to the elevator to get to the deepest part of the mines now.
Yeah, fortunately, getting too many gems isn't really an issue in the speed run because you're not killing enough enemies for it to really matter. And every time you do die, you lose all of the gems you do have.
Okay. So we now need to get 2 more keys. The mine key and the key to the mine. And so you can see as well what I'm trying to do is use my attacks as well to get
this room is so hard, by the way, too, just because there's so many enemies and so many turns. And you have to, like, we keep saying you have to double tap to run every time you change directions.
Yeah. You actually do want to take a few hits here, so I might try and, if I'm like not undamaged by the end, I will try and just like force myself to take a hit. But again, we want to do another death walk when we get to the end of this. But yeah, we'll see what the game allows. That'll do. Bosh. Bosh. I'm gonna play safe. I need 3 hits to die anyway at this point. So there's the mine key, and we're gonna go into the morgue. This is very grim. And get the key to the mine. Now with these we can go into the deepest sanctum, I guess, for lack of a better word. We're going to have a nice little trick here if either myself or Zheal can get it, called the Sam jump, which is where we attack manually to break the ball and chain that he's on, and then input a jump attack and try and talk to him on the frame that we kind of connect with him, and get the talk so we are pushed further to the right for the chat. Nope. I didn't get it. It just kind of means you can just run straight up rather than having to run right then up, so it saves you a bit of time in terms of input. Yeah, we got it. Nice.
Nice. I love this little bit of flavor too, just because the melody you're learning to cure amnesia is actually the background music for Angkor Wat, which is a place they'll be going to like an hour or so from now.
Okay. So that's the diamond mines done. We're going to be going to our next fun dungeon. Well, one of the best dungeons in the game, I'd say, actually, and with one of the best soundtracks as well.
It's really cool, yeah.
Oh, I'm done, actually. I wanted to go in again.
Not a fan of Sky Garden?
I love Sky Garden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So so now that we've, I guess learned a melody that can cure amnesia, which we'll be using on Eric?
Yeah, Lance is the one who's...
Lance, okay.
This song, by the way, is called Into the Earthen Womb. We have to actually watch this bit, which is why we like to have a little bit of fun with this bit. If you'd like to join me, Zheal. Do you want to join me in this? I'll do Lance and
You do Lance?
I'll do Lance and Lily.
Okay.
What is this place?
Somehow I feel a little homesick.
I feel like I'm back in the womb.
I'm Eric as well, right?
Oh,
yeah, okay, I'm ready.
Everything that happened and the people I've met are pouring into my head.
I was raised in the town of South Cape. When my father didn't come back from an expedition, the most important thing in my life was gone. I didn't know what to do. I know this script too well.
I couldn't stand my father using soldiers to invade other countries. It's awful when someone loses their life. What had taken years to put together was destroyed in one moment.
I wonder if Seth is all right.
People live on because they forget about unpleasant things.
It's true. Thank you very much, Zheal. Thank you. Okay, so now that we've saved Lance's memory, we can now advance to our next place. We know that Will has like his cousin lives nearby. His name's Neil, and he lives in this wonderful little cottage, and he is an airplane manufacturer. And he's an inventor. Inventor, yeah. But he's working specifically on a plane right now. You can see about a bunch of his things that are around. He's got a telescope, he's got a camera, he's got an air canister. Guy's sweet. Okay, so we need to talk to. We need to check all of his 4 inventions so he can brag about them, and then we just speak to Neil, and then we make our way to the Nasca ruins. So it's really weird that when I was a kid, I played 2 video games, specifically Shining Force 2 and Illusion of Gaia, and both of these games have the Nasca ruins in them. So I don't know if that was intentional or not, but
I think it's a sign you need to go there IRL.
yeah, I do really want to go, I must say. Although this is a very different Nasca lines. There's no flying ship built into it, but there is a flying garden above it.
Flying something above it, yeah. Which is kind of, I think, believed it's kind of meant to be like the Gardens of Babylon, basically.
Yeah. So we speak to Kara, we speak to Lily, speak to Kara again, and she chortles away for a little bit, I believe. Laughs. Don't be so serious.
Yeah.
Then
do we maybe want to let Yaga take it for a bit while we're waiting on this stuff?
1 second, I just want to make sure I got this perfect. I have. Ding!
Nice. Yeah, that is harder than it looks, by the way, to not bonk on either Kara or Lance.
It's too far.
It's too far.
Yeah, there's 2 pixels around the right-hand side of that one. But so here we have to say that we needed to remember where the red star was, and it was at the left foot. So yeah, there we go. If Yaga would like to read up a quick donation, that'd be great.
Certainly. We do have a $50 donation by Chatboy. Hey, RPG Limit Break. I hope everyone is having a good day. Thank you to the staff and the runners for hosting this event. Donation goes to the EGA version of Quest for Glory 1. Let's see those typing muscles. And at this point, I would like to point out that if you donate to this event, or to NAMI more specifically, you can actually allocate your donations towards various challenges and bid wars. Upcoming for the next run, Star Ocean, The Last Hope HD Remastered, you have the choice between enabling or disabling enemy voices, the choice to choose the menu style, and also various character names. And also, I think there is voice language as well, something like that. So yeah, there's quite a few things that you can donate towards.
Alright, so the Sky Garden's a very, very unique kind of dungeon for this game, because it's a little non-linear. There's 4 kind of quadrants to the garden, each of which has a crystal ball that you find and then use to create a road to the boss. And then also, in addition to the top side of the garden, there's also the underside, which you can jump to, and you'll be needing to do that all over the place to
because
progress.
Physics is really good in this game. It's the enemies on the underside deal 1 more damage, and they have a little bit more health as well. So it's a little bit more dangerous being on the underside.
And then these caterpillars also have a different kind of death animation when they die that actually can hurt you, along with creating a lot of lag. So then, yeah, take another intentional death there in order to get back to the center of the garden.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that second snake ball can catch you. There's a way I tend to find that he doesn't do it is kind of waiting to move left as you get to the statues or like the blocks on the left-hand side. And so we do a quick jump over the top again, and then we. With the swords, you have to kind of like attack them. You have to attack the statue, and then the swords come to life, and then you destroy the sword to be able to move the statue using your telekinesis. Change into Freedan, because we're going to need him again for this next segment.
Because there's a golem coming up that they do need the Dark Friar to actually be able to kill.
Okay. And yeah, we can get a double hit if we stand close enough to him, as because Prox was saying about these double hits. We're going to be able to get one of those because of the distance that we have. And then we'll be able to hit him once and finish this one very quickly.
Nice.
Okay.
That's not so good.
Zeal's in a little bit of trouble now.
Yeah, the HP in this game is, well, on the underside, you have like, what is it, 14 HP? And,
Oh, what?
no.
Yeah, Bowie playing it a little safe there too, because it is possible to open that chest through the orb cancel glitch, but if you open the chest after the barrier starts exploding, it'll crash the game.
Yeah, and I have done that in a run before, and that was scary. Also, we can bring it very, very low in terms of HP. You want to try and be on 1 HP to do that, but I purposefully only hit the guy once just because sometimes
I don't need freedom anymore, right?
yeah, you've already done it.
Yeah, something we haven't talked about yet too is how stat advancement works in the speed run, because ordinarily when you kill all enemies in a room, one of your stats, HP, strength, or defense, goes up by 1. But whenever you kill a boss, you get all of the stat ups that you've messed up until that point, because if that mechanic didn't exist, it would be pretty much impossible to speedrun this game.
You'd have to be perfect, like no damage.
Because you die in 1 hit to anything and everything.
The third area, by the way, I will just say is one of the most unique areas. We do a massive sequence break there, and by jumping up the ramps completely negates the puzzle in this section.
Yeah, because there's meant to be a puzzle where you kind of go up and down between the top and bottom of the garden in order to move blocks, and then kind of clear a path for you to dash along and go up that ramp. But if you just do a jump attack with the right positioning, you jump over the ramp and skip the puzzle completely.
And that trick there as well was discovered by Krorak, and it's perhaps the only actual clip in the game. By doing a jump attack just at the right kind of angle, because obviously Will jumps into the air, and obviously Proaxel was mentioning the lack of a Z-axis. That you can actually hit that and land inside the blocks. Then you press up to push yourself out the bottom, and then you can go and get that dark space to transform into free down early as well, which is another like sequence break, because normally we'd have to go and get free down in this section, and it's a lot longer a journey to go and get him. It saves, I think, about, I want to say like 6-7 seconds, perhaps more. But yeah, you'd normally have to go to the northwest here.
Yeah, but the main reason I was bringing up the stat advancement now, though, is just that the difficulty of this run kind of fluctuates up and down as you go, because like at this point they haven't fought a boss since the Incan ruins. They're kind of 1.5 dungeons. They've gone 1.5 dungeons without getting any kind of stat ups at all, so they're in quite a bit of danger of death to certain kinds of enemies that do high damage.
And what I just did there was the statue skip. So we hit the statue and we stand literally like in line with it, and then the sword will swing around and hit us up. We move down, and the sword will then hit us down onto this platform. If we were to try to walk towards it, the input would make us jump down. But if we take damage, it doesn't count as an input. So we get pushed to the edge enough just to walk right and get our...
So that's all 4 crystals, and Bowie's going to fight Viper, the second boss now. Overall, I'd say Viper is a little bit easier than Kastoth, but he still kills you in 2 hits.
That was close.
Only real randomness with Viper is when he kind of shoots a 4-way spreading shot, which direction those go. And then he's kind of here for this pattern, he's just standing in a safe spot and mashing with the very specific, I think it's 18 frame rhythm. Alright, nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so that fight is a lot tighter than it seems, because he will 2-shot us, and we're basically doing the jump attacks at the right time to kind of like be up between the volleys of feathers he throws.
Yeah, because Will is invincible while jump attacking. I don't know if we mentioned that, and that's used very, very heavily in a lot of situations for safety.
Oh yeah, we can charge. Yeah. So, and also there's something to be said that you can get 10 hits when he's like blowing the ice crystals at you. You have to go into 9 hits and then kind of you want to buffer a jump attack in so that you can hit him again for the 10th time, which is very, very important. There it is. Very nice.
Oops.
It's okay.
Oh,
nice.
Nice.
Okay.
That
You
was
can charge
spooky.
parachutes by the way.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
That's nice.
But I think it's because it uses the same palette as like Will's head. I don't know.
Yeah.
So because it's got a similar color to his hair.
Retro
it
games
do
are a
that.
beautiful thing sometimes.
It's mandatory to charge your parachutes, I think. Myself.
Yeah.
Myself. I mean, you may not, but I like to.
So you may have noticed like Zheal's health going up by a fair bit after he killed Viper, and that's again because he's gaining all of the strength, HP, and defense points that he skipped by not fighting any regular enemies up until then.
Yeah.
And that's really nice to get caught up here too, just because Mu, the next major dungeon they're going into, is very difficult and has some very random enemies that can just teleport into you and give you a bad day.
Indeed. So now we're in the undersea volcano. I'm thinking of Final Fantasy Adventure. We're in the undersea palace, and basically what happened is you can see that we crash landed in the sea, and then there's all these kind of spirits, these ghosts, these slimes running around, and there's these like apparitions of our friends. Basically, it's kind of the water's corrupted essentially, and the area is corrupted because of it. So we need to find this purification stone and throw it into the source of life in the bottom, and it basically purifies the water of life at the bottom and brings life back to the Seaside Palace, and resurrects Mu as well.
In the Japanese version, it's a different color that looks a lot more like blood, although I think it looks more like mud in this version.
It's a bit grim, but yeah. So now we're just going to run out, so I think we have time for about 1 or 2 donations if we have any, Mr. Yagamoth, sir.
Certainly. We do have actually a lot of donations. I may potentially not be able to get to all of them, but we received them and they are really greatly appreciated. We did receive a $100 anonymous donation, no comment attached to it, but thank you very much. We did receive a $20 donation by Sandiner. Awesome Illusion of Gaia race. I'm glued to my seat for this one. Best of luck to Zheal and Bowie. We did get a $50 donation by Caterpillar. Fine, I guess I'll just watch this one on the bus to work then, Bowie. Good luck to both runners. It's going to be an awesome race, can't wait. And please everyone, stay hydrated, eat well and get enough sleep. I hope everyone feels so proud of all the work they've done here. Congratulations on raising $31,000 already.
Thank you, Jilla. I do appreciate that.
I like how casually this NPC just stole a key from the vampires, by the way, too. Like, why don't you go fight the vampires? Why do I have to?
I'm only armed with a flute, bro. What can I do? Well, we'll find out very shortly. So yeah, we get the key to the Seaside Palace, and we can get out of here and then enter Mu, which is a tricky dungeon. We were introduced to some new movement tech here where you can attack, and you're not meant to be able to do an iframe attack with Will because he has the jump attack, but we managed to. PJ found this site a million years ago, but then no one kind of like remembered that he found it. But you can do that basically, and you can attack and keep running through enemies. I'm going to see if I can do it here. Nice, that's one. Nah, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, but it just means that we can keep going pretty much. There are places where I could use it, but it's oh my word, I just ruined that. Quick kill.
Yeah, these golems have a lot of health, fortunately.
Yeah, so what you're meant to do, if I was focusing there, you can do one charge psycho dash, then hang to the left, and he will stand up and come over to you. Throw out a second one, and then do an attack, jump attack in a nice enough pattern, and you can basically defeat him before he sits down again. It's a very, very nice quick kill. Oh dear. So yeah, there's very, very, very tight corridors here, which require a lot of double tapping. So our thumbs are going to be bleeding by the end of this, I think. They aren't. This is not. This is a safe game to run. Don't worry. Bosh.
Yeah, and then those teleporting wizards, like I said, totally random. I mean,
yeah,
they can and will just spawn directly on top of you while you're dashing through and make you take damage.
Yeah. Flashes will always be the bane of Mu.
And then kind of the puzzle for Mu, at least for the first half of it, is that there's treasure where kind of statues with faces that point in a specific direction have their field of vision line up. So this is the easy one. They're just off screen, but there's 2 statues, and then where you find the first key, the first statue of hope, where they line up. The second one's a lot more subtle.
Please, Bowie. So we're going to do a cool little thing here. We're going to do a jump attack against this, and it pushes us behind that bubble to get a little bit of speed up. Thanks, Flasher. Yeah. Again, this is one of those ones where we have to go quite a way without dying, so we need to be very, 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 very careful. Yeah, whenever we take the Statue of Hope to the Rooms of Hope, it actually decreases the water level in Mu, so we're able to get to the next part of the dungeon. So we need to go grab 2 Statues of Hope to unlock the lowest area, which will then allow us to pick up 2 statues called the Rama statues. After picking both of those up, we will do our gentleman's agreed save before vampires, because that boss is silly.
Yeah. Vampires is the most difficult boss in the game, and by the way, public service announcement, if anybody plays this game casually, get Freedan for the vampires. It makes it way, way, way easier, but unfortunately getting Freedan in this speedrun would be about 2 minutes and change slower because of how far out of the way it is.
Okay. Right, next little trick here, we're going to be able to use iframe to jump behind this golem. Oh, no, never mind, I'm not going to be able to. Ooh. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, this is fine!
Is it?
Not really, but, you know. There we go. That's what I was trying to do, but of course I mess it up. Yeah, it's okay.
You're intended to have Freedan at this point, too, to use Dark Friar to wake up that golem, but there's kind of a sliver of pixels at the top of the ramp that counts as solid ground instead of part of the ramp, and there's actually a variety of ways you can exploit that by just kind of buffering certain types of inputs to stop when you get to the top of the ramp, and then just hit it with the flute.
I'm just going to do that instead. I have too low HP to really do this properly.
He's always at a point where a death would be pretty costly too. Yeah. So yeah, it's certainly not a bad idea to play it a little safe here.
I'm also going to, for the purposes of safety, heal.
Yep, because his health is low enough that one hit from a teleporting wizard would kill him.
And there's one particular sub-pixel where I think I might get bodied if I do it. So I'm going to sacrifice some time here. It's a bit of a shame that I have to do it, but...
Yeah, but here is where we get one of the best abilities in the game, the Psycho Slider, which pretty much changes a lot of just how basic movement works with Will. Because if you attack while running, now you'll do a special sliding attack that
are you serious?
It does the same amount of damage as the Psycho Dash, and you can get a double hit if you have the right positioning for it. And the best part is that you're invincible while doing it, and so a lot of enemies now you can just slide through instead of having to go around.
Aye. And yeah.
Wizard is 3 damage, right?
Pun?
Wizard is 3, right?
Wizard is 3, yeah, 3 damage.
Not gonna heal.
Ooh.
So like you see Bowie there getting a double hit on that slime just by kind of kicking the slime into and having it still be inside your hitbox with the slider.
Yes, thankfully the wall behind it was helpful in that, but yeah. So we're going to do this and just bounce off of this particular bad boy. We need to bring this over to the side so we can do a run up this slope here. You need to get full speed, so we dash down into it and then immediately press up to get the full speed without losing any momentum from the bubbles there. And then we're going to go and grab the second Statue of Hope, which is hidden just past these spikes here.
Yeah, this takes a while to find blind too, just because I think you actually have to kill enemies in order to even make the statues that are your queue and where it is appear, and they're pretty far away too. So you kind of have to almost make a map either on paper or in your head as far as what this room looks like.
Yeah.
But then this is why, if assuming nothing bad happens to Zheal on his way to the statue, he's going to save a bit of time on Bowie because of having lower health to take the next intentional death.
Indeed. I also played that room with the slime a little bit safe. Okay. There we go.
Alright, so yeah, so placing the second Statue of Hope lowers the water level to its minimum then and lets you get to the deepest parts of Mu. An unfortunate side effect, though, is it means more wizards spawn, too.
Yeah, the amount of times that we just get caught by wizards running through is very annoying.
Because each layer of Mu kind of has its own enemy spawns, and the wizards just can go wherever they want to once they're loaded.
Okay. Thank you, mate. Out of the way. So yeah, now that we have the slider as well, we can take a quick little shortcut, which is through here. There is a way that you can like frame if you're pixel perfect, and then press the attack button to start the sliding animation on the same pixel that you kind of like hit the wall. You actually go through those sliding points immediately without having to watch the animation of Will like getting into his crouch.
Yeah, it's pixel and frame perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Did you get it? Or?
I got it, but normally you can do it if you attack then move up slightly, then do a jump attack. You can bounce back, but I'm too far to the right, so I caught the right hand go then.
Bowie's going for a glitch that's actually a lot more kind of broken sounding than it actually is, and that's invincibility. Because if you open a chest that has an item that gives you kind of the extended item get fanfare, with a kind of while you're in the middle of an attack that makes you invincible, like either a jump attack or a psycho slide in this case, that cancels the rest of the animation and you're still invincible, but it only lasts until the next screen transition. So unfortunately he's not invincible for the vampires.
All the rest of the game, indeed.
Yeah. But it is pretty nice, especially for this second statue too, to just be able to just run out without having to worry about getting sniped by shots from the wizards or golems.
Yeah, but yeah.
So coming up on the vampires fight now here too, and
I got the frame perfect.
Nice, good. So yeah, we're going to do a save here to make sure, because if we do, because we have two herbs, and if we use them both and we still die, it makes the vampire fight even more silly.
Yeah, because you don't lose progress if you die in this game, which hopefully is obvious with all the intentional deaths they're taking for skipping backtracking, but any items that you've used stay gone. And there's also a cutscene at the start of the vampires fight that gives you a couple free hits at the start, and if you were to die and go back, you would not get those free hits again. Alright, so best of luck, Bowie. Again, Vampire's most difficult fight in the game. He's doing it as Will, which makes it way harder, but also way faster if you're good.
Yeah, also like, having the iframe property actually makes certain bits of the fight a little bit simpler. Like using 3 down, you can deal more damage, and you have Fryer to attack from afar, but you don't have the iframes when it does get a little bit cheeky, so. Okay, here we go.
An important thing to note about the vampires is that you don't take damage from touching them. It's only their projectiles. So Bowie's, I believe the strat hasn't changed. He's still going to be just kind of trying to camp out inside the vampires' sprites and do jump attacks to kind of be constantly dealing damage while not taking any because of the iframes from the jumps. This is their combo attack, which you do not want to get hit by. That does a lot of damage if it hits you. And they're invincible while doing it too. Yeah, good chance to herb there. Alright, 1 vampire down.
There's ways you can play this safe, and it's not so bad, but yeah, you just have to hope that he doesn't mess you around too much. You mean man. Come on. Oh, please.
Yeah.
I'll take an 84.
Yes. Let's see how Zheal's fight goes. After the vampires do their combo attack too, I believe they return to the spots they were before they did it too.
The girl does. The boy doesn't. He goes to any spot. So the woman can go in any direction, like linear. She'll go 1 to each junction. The man can go to any point he wants, which is yeah, really annoying. And also he can throw out. He deals less damage, but he can throw out 2 shields. Well, nice.
Nice. Clutch finish by Zheal there.
Good job.
And how?
And then, a great way to kind of just measure how fast your vampire's fight was the timer on the bomb when you get the last hit too.
So, for reference, my PB is a 109, which is 21 seconds or 26 seconds faster than what I got today.
I'm guessing you had some pretty godly luck with getting double hits on them too.
If the vampires double up, you can basically hit them both, so essentially dealing double damage.
Yeah, because like we said a bit ago, your strength stat is irrelevant as far as how much damage you do against bosses in Illusion of Gaia. It's always 1 damage per hit as Will, or 2 as Free Dan up until this point, and as Will, it's 40 hits on each vampire.
That's a lot of hits. Yeah, it should be noted. I think the fastest I've ever seen, the record holder for this game, Zheal and I are second and third, respectively. Le Hulk, I think his fastest vampires was like a 113, 114, which is absolutely disgusting.
I think it's higher, 115.
115?
Like mine is 112.
Oh, great. That's not nice, is it? 109 is the fastest I've had. I think I had 3 double ups. It was beautiful. But it's one of those things where, at almost an hour into the run, you're kind of really hoping that it goes very, very well. It is the first like major roadblock in terms of getting into those faster runs, those sub 2s, 158s kind of.
Yeah, because I mean, if anybody asks me for advice on learning to speedrun this game, I always say just if you can't do it as well consistently without dying, just take the 2-minute loss to get Free Dan, because that makes it way easier. And then once you've finished some runs and decide you want to chase a lower time, then you can work on the Will fight.
Yeah. It is, I've been playing this game for 6 years, or speedrunning this game for 6 years. I've been playing it for a lot longer. I've been speedrunning this game for 6 years. It is still not comfortable, honestly. It's just one of those fights. The concept is simple, and the concept is pretty easy, but the execution is very, very different.
Yeah, along with just dealing with the RNG, with their movements, too, is just... Yeah.
So here's where the major differences comes in with 100%, because normally with Hundo, you'd go to speak to Gem the Jeweler here and get all of your upgrades now.
And 100% we define in this game is getting all 50 red jewels and then completing Gem's Mansion, which is the bonus dungeon. It's roughly about a 10-minute difference or so, I think, these days between any percent and 100%.
Yeah, roughly. Maybe a little bit more, but yeah.
And in 100%, this would be your first opportunity to kind of cash in jewels you've been collecting to get rewards like stat ups, and that would let you kill a couple of these green extendo neck lizards a little faster.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna do this, where we're gonna push up into him and then do a very, very quick slider instead. Normally you just charge up Psycho Dash and then use that, but.
Yeah, Ishtar's Studio, this kind of short little dungeon here, does have some kind of clever puzzles for a kind of a 16-bit RPG like this. Like, there's secret doors where you're kind of using sound effects as a cue for where to find them, or like positions of flames on the wall. Then we kind of end with a memory-based puzzle.
Yeah, spot the difference. You can hear that it's noisiest there, which means that you're near the waterfalls, and by checking that area, you can get through.
Overall, though, I would call this a nice little breather after the vampires, though, just because, I mean, there's a lot of subtle optimizations, but I wouldn't say really anything about Ishtar's Studio is like.
Yeah,
really
the problem I always have with this dungeon is that it uses the same HP pool like the Great Wall, and the Great Wall is one of my weaknesses. And taking damage here, which can happen, especially in the second room with the 2 skeletons. My confidence drops immensely in the Great Wall.
Yeah, it's a really, really scary dungeon, the Great Wall, because we have one of the most annoying bosses, but also like the enemies do hit hard if you do take damage, and we have some more tricky techniques coming up. So when it comes to iframe dashes, we're saying that obviously Will can't do. Now that we've got the slider, we can't do the one where we cancel the attack animation diagonally. So we have to do perpendicular inputs to stop ourselves in front of an enemy, and then attack like beside them, and then run through them. It's not so bad because one of the major enemies we use it on has a hitbox the size of Texas, but it's it's a thing.
Yeah, for this memory puzzle, though, you just need to point that cursor at whatever is different between the 2 rooms, and they do some clever things with this. Like for the one with the chests, it's the contents of the chest that are different, and then the final room, it's the fact that there's wind in the second version, so you just point at Will, because Will's hair blows in the wind.
But yeah, so we've got a little bit of downtime now. So we've got time for 1 donation, because there's something else we have to do, obviously, when we get to Watermire. It's
kind of past this point that the cutscenes in the town start to get longer, too. There's a lot more kind of slower scrolling text, starting once we get to Watermire here. So yeah, why don't we have a couple donations?
Alrighty, we do have a donation, 2 donations actually that are in response to your voice acting. $25 by Chibi Scala, donating for that voice acting. Good luck to Zheal and Bowie on the run, and also $20 by Prof NES. Voice acting is always worth a donation. Split this runner's choices.
Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so we go to the water town of Watermire. I know I say it differently to him. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't even know why I say it. I just do. So again, Will is narrating it himself, and it's very, very strange. He goes, "We're at the house of young. This is Luke's house. He is a lovable young fisherman. I am going out on a long fishing voyage. Please use my house." So he's like being both. He's being Luke and himself.
The wind has no direction.
Yeah. So, oh crikey. We're going to, first of all, see that Lance has found his father. His father also went on the expedition with Will's father, but and Will's father didn't come back, but Lance's did, so that's good. So he's has some reason to stay here. But it is, of course, a very, very special time. Lily with the blue hair. It's her birthday, so it's time to sing to her. So everybody, happy birthday, blue-haired girl. Here's some cake we found on the shelf. I don't know how long it's been there. Do not try the frosting. Thank you very much. Yeah. Shelf cake is best cake. It feels huge. So now Lance is like, Lily, I love you. I want to be with you forever. And, you know, a bit forward, mate.
Yeah. Just some nice awkward teen romance and
she's
angst
just,
here.
she's just like, I'm out of here. You don't have to answer right away. I just, I wanted to tell you how I feel. And then she just sods off immediately. Bye. Lily, wait. Oh, no. My heart. And then, yeah, so he gets all sad, and he runs away.
This is a pretty insidious story trigger, by the way, coming up to actually find the next dungeon, the Great Wall, because after Lily disappears, Lance goes after her, and doesn't really tell you that up front. He kind of
he goes for a medicine for his father.
Mm-hmm.
On a suicide mission.
Oh, that too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like he wants the poison of the worm of the Great Wall or something.
Yeah. But he hides a letter explaining where he's going in Will's bag, which is represented by just putting it in your inventory without the game actually telling you that. So
Yeah. You have to like check your inventory to see it there and go,
so
oh,
you're
right,
playing
right.
this casually, you're generally just going to stumble around for quite a while before you just maybe happen to open your inventory and notice that letter there, which you then have to read in order to activate the Great Wall.
Alright, so you can see I'm doing the iframe attacks here. Oh, the perpendicular inputs. What am I doing? Wow. Oh no, I was right. What am I doing? What am I doing? I've never done that before, honestly. I don't know what I did there. But yeah, so we're running up to the enemies and then like facing either up or down and attacking perpendicular and then kind of cancelling and running forward. I don't know, what was I doing?
Yeah, enemies in this game actually can't hurt you if you touch them when they're in hit stun. And it's actually pretty easy to exploit that as Freedan, but doing it as Will is a lot more difficult because it's just a lot more inputs you have to do.
Mm-hmm. So we landed that perfectly without being injured at all. Good job, Will. The 3-point landing coming through. We run past the Terracotta Army, and we'll keep making our way through the Great Wall. The music's pretty sweet and great in Great Wall again, so... Okay.
Yeah, this dungeon they're going to be playing pretty much exclusively as Will, with one notable exception.
Yeah, one of the biggest sequence breaks in the game is in this dungeon, which we can buffer through, so it's not too hard to do. But yeah, it's pretty sizable how much time it saves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it translates into actually skipping the entire final kind of section of the Great Wall based on this where the screen transition lines are.
So here, we're going to go 1, 2, hold down B, and slide there. Normally you're meant to keep going.
Yeah,
you go and get spin dash and then come back here. But we can basically get Freedan. You're meant to get spin dash, come back and get Freedan, and then you can use his Dark Friar to advance even further. Then go back and transform into Will, and then continue. But now we can just go straight to Will, get Freedan, and then we don't have to backtrack as far in order to.
Yeah, it's pretty complicated, but we'll keep explaining the pieces of it as they come up in the run.
Yeah.
So yeah, you saw Zheal just do kind of the slide, and it's very important you don't do that slide early, by the way, too, because if you slide into the second ramp instead of the third one, then you're soft locked because you don't have the spin dash yet, which you normally need in order to get over those ramps. And if you're stuck between two of them, then there's no enemies there to take damage from, so you just have to reset at that point.
Aye. Okay, so yeah, we're going to now use, so down here is where you go and get spin dash. So normally you have to come here, go back, go forward, come back.
Yeah.
But now,
yeah, and this is the one place you actually need Friedan, and that's just to kill this guy who opens the barrier in front of the stairs there.
And because it's Any and not Hundo, we have 1 HP left because we have 1 less strength. Which means we would have defeated him 1 attack.
Alright, so now that's taken care of, now we're actually going to go learn the spin dash ability, and then when you learn an ability for a specific character, if you aren't that character, you get transformed into them. But that's something you can only actually do while learning the ability. So it's coming in here as Friedan lets you then become Will, and then we'll be able to skip the final section.
Aye.
Because of using spin dash when you're expected to be Friedan.
It's at this point I wish people to start bless RNGing or Magus or Magus blessing.
Yeah.
This is the biggest point of RNG in the game. This is a Sandfanger fight, and yeah, if anything is going to separate this run, it's going to be this. Right?
Yeah, because I would maybe argue that Sandfanger is probably the easiest boss in the game just to survive,
Yeah.
but it's the most
Depends.
variable.
Yeah.
If you get all the egg drops.
Because yeah, Sandfanger has 3 different patterns. It has an egg-laying pattern, which is what you want to see because it lets you get the most hits. I think you can get, up to 8 hits or so?
8 hits vertically, 7 horizontally.
And then it also has 2 diving patterns, a horizontal dive and a vertical dive. And those, I think it's only 2 hits you can get just right when it's coming out of the ground and back in. And the odds are very much not in your favor of getting a perfect fight, because I want to say it's 1 out of 4 for the eggs, and then 1 out of 4 for one of the types of dives, and 2 out of 4 for the other. I know Nitrodon told me a long time ago what the odds were.
I honestly thought it was 1/3 for all of them, so that makes a lot more sense. Okay, here we go.
Alright, good luck. Alright, so it's a good start there. The only real way this fight can get dangerous is if you lose control of the kind of mini Sandfangers it creates. But you can kind of tell which pattern you're getting by where the eggs kind of spawn in, and if your position Will just right, you can kill both of them before they get away.
If we have time for a short announcement real quick.
Let's let them fight this boss, and then we got some cutscenes afterwards.
Oh my god,
nice.
5 eggs.
Really?
That's
Damn.
very, very lucky.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, Zheal's getting a lot of dives, which, yeah, it's just unfortunate that you've got just such a big bit of randomness this deep into the game.
Yeah, it's the thing. But yeah, so afterwards we find out that Lance is at the very depth here. So wow, that's really bad. You then have to leave them be so they can have a little conversation amongst themselves, because obviously Lance, because Lily was worried about Lance when he went.
Come on.
And he's not being nice to Zheal at all right now. That should be it, yeah.
Okay, there's a good one. Does need to be a little careful now, because I think you might be in danger of dying to that little one if it hits him.
That's it.
Okay, you got it.
Very good.
It was 2.5.
Alright, so we've got some more angst going on here with Lance and Lily. What do you got for us, Yega?
Alrighty, I just wanted to announce that for the next run coming up, Star Ocean, The Last Hope, the bid war between the voice language, Japanese or English, has been opened. So this is now available for, well, bidding on.
Excellent. So Lance obviously says that he loves her, and he loves her, and then Lily says that she loves him too, and he goes, "Oh, I feel like 1,000,000 summer days." So they make their way back to the village as the happy little couple. Young love, doesn't it make you sick?
Yeah, even though there was kind of an unfortunate spread with the Sandfanger fight here, this race is not over, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Just there's still some of the most difficult parts of the run yet to come, too, and one kind of bad death from Bowie could change the tide just like that. So you may remember Will using his psychic powers to cheat at playing cards with his friends way back at the beginning of the game. Well, he's going to be doing it again, only a little more nefariously.
Yeah. So the actual narrative behind this character is actually really, really quite dark in terms of. So this gentleman has I want to say a what's the word I'm looking for? He's dying basically.
Terminal illness.
And he basically is trying to save money and earn money by playing Russian glass and gambling with his life to save money for his expecting wife. But because we use our psychic powers, we cheat. And he's like, no, I can't lose. I need to win. I need to save her. Or I need to give her money or let her have money when I go. And he's so stubborn, he just drinks the last drink. And unfortunately, he's brown bread.
Yeah, just given what this event is about, by the way, this is not okay to do in real life. Just want to be clear about that.
Yeah. But yeah,
not okay at all.
Will uses his psychic powers. If you do check the right-hand glass, Will says, this looks a bit shady. Let's not use that one. So yeah, you can drink if you really want, but yeah, you need to advance.
Yeah. If you do go ahead and drink the poison glass, though, it does count as a death, like if you died in a dungeon or so. But you just respawn because it's a video game.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, really, really dark subplot here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to the city of Euro, of course. Yeah, the city of Euro? Absolutely, we're going to go to the city of Euro.
All of Euro in one city.
We crossed the desert and have finally arrived in the village of Euro. Euro was a bustling city. Make up your mind. Yeah, all of Europe is here, pretty much. And Neil's parents run a company called Rolec. It's not a. I think they're a distributing company, aren't they? In this, I don't know. They're a delivery company.
They do distribute something.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
They set off fireworks. There were dancers. There was a festival. Really?
Yeah. We're gonna see it now, right? We're gonna see some fancy Mode 7 camera panning and some multicolored fireworks and dancers, kind of like the ending to Chrono Trigger or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Aww.
Just a guest room with a lovely plant. Okay, so there's two ways of doing this. I'm going to do this the good way, but I bet you I'm not going to get it right because it's really tricky. No, there we go. It's the fastest to do it that way, but it's a bit more inconsistent because you have to kind of like get that spacing right.
Yeah, this is where you just kind of walk in on an elderly couple that's arguing about whether or not a teapot on a mountain has souls in it or something like that, and then you just, okay, I'll go find it.
Yeah, I can do that,
Yeah.
So we're going to go to Mount Temple. This dungeon, for many people, is a massive maze, and not many people like it, but it's one of the best for like practicing your double tap turning. It's really, really good and feels amazing to get right, but we'll see how it goes. So it's very, very linear. All of the vertical pathways are 2 tiles wide, and all of the horizontal ones are 1 tile.
This isn't a particularly dangerous place either, too, because, again, Will's stats got kind of caught up to where you're intended to be at when they beat Sandfangers, so you've got all the HP and defense.
Yeah, and we also will be using Spin Dash as a movement option to get through some areas a lot quicker. So not only is it an offensive weapon, it's also really good for movement as well. So it's nice. Okay, so I know that Puexel, you like to show off the silliness from this, but yeah, you can do an orb cancel and kind of like run down and just like hang around.
Run into the void, basically.
Yeah. But we're going to be grabbing. Hey, guys, look! It's the mushroom drops. Every other one, it's like you found, but on this one, it's always it's the mushroom drops.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's a lot of lag too.
Yeah. So spiders on this, they can like fire web from their bottoms. And if they do, you get a lot of lag, which makes...
Yeah, and then he did the chest invincibility glitch there, too, by doing a jump attack to both open the chest... Well, actually do 3 things. Open the chest to get the mushroom drops, bounce back off of it to just gain a little bit of distance, and also become invincible for the rest of the screen.
Yeah. Come on. But yeah, there's we do want to be taking small bits of damage. It's kind of it's arguable where the best place to take damage is, but at the end of the day, we do want to death warp at the end. So there are certain enemies that are really good for taking damage. The sprites, that's not the actual sprite, but the sprites, the little dudes with the flutes, are bringing fireballs around. They deal 4 damage, so 2 full blobs, and everything else is like 2 or 3 damage. So. Okay, so now I've got the iframes again. Hopefully I'm going to get the sprites will be spread out so I don't get lag. And perfect.
All right, nice.
If you get 3 sprites who have fire going around them, it causes lag because there's just so much information on the screen.
This isn't, yeah, this game doesn't really have a lot of lag issues. Like, I think that's pretty much it as far as this category, as far as where there's really a lot of anything that they'd really need to do to try to avoid lag.
Yeah. So coming back here is fun because there's like a million spiders, give or take, and yeah, they can cause a little bit of a ruckus. Thank you, mate. Damage me, please. Okay, fine. Doesn't want to deal damage to me. Mean. It's also really annoying taking damage on the last screen because it is quite difficult to get the sprites in the right position to actually hit you. They can be a bit cheeky. But I can be a little bit more aggressive with this final bit of movement. We're going to be making our way to the last area, so it's going to be just a bit more clean movement. But I guess we have time for another donation. We can throw one out.
Certainly. We do have a $100 donation by Eggplant Wiz, and says, "My wife deals with panic and anxiety on a daily basis. NAMI is a very important cause in a time that sees less and less resources to support those in need. Please put this towards Bowie the Hero's choice of incentives in gratitude for his stream, convincing me to take the chance on Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Thank you very much.
And we do have plenty more donations. I will try to get to them, but as usual, we do receive all of them. Thank you so much for being so generous. And, well, do we have time for more, or do you guys?
Yeah, they're just about to get the teapot here, and then take an intentional death to get out of the mountain. So yeah, we could probably do 1 or 2 more.
Alrighty, we do have a $100 donation by Juk or Jack. RPG Limit Break is the best week of the year. Rooting for my hero. Good luck to both. Donation incentive to winner's choice. Illusion of Gaia is still one of my all-time favorite games, and the speedrun is super enjoyable to watch. I miss Quintet.
So we death warped out here using the sprites who hit by 4. Luckily, I was in a good position to get hit by them. But yeah, taking intentional damage is nice there. So with the teapot, we go back to Rolek, where Neil is hanging out with his parents. If we haven't said this before, I should probably say it now, but Will's a bit of an arse. What you can do in the 100% category when you're back in Frisia with the laborers, you can actually sell out a hiding laborer to a laborer to the laborer to the laborer owners, and yeah, just they'll be like, "Thank you very much. Here's a red jewel. Thanks, Will. You're really doing a good job here, mate." And also we killed that guy playing Russian Glass.
And then we get this amazing bit of text here too, when after Neil basically finds out that not only have his parents been killed, they've been murdered and replaced by ghosts.
Yeah, so Neil's really upset. Like, I finally realized how important my parents were to me. I wish I could have told them. And then Will's just like, Will, just leave me alone. And Will says instead, "I'm ashamed to hear you talk that way. I've never seen you like this before." That is your cousin, William. So yeah, we were talking about delivery projects. This is perhaps one of my favorite deliveries I've ever seen.
the pig. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Kara, someone's been asking about you. Nani? And then Hamlet's back. Yay! Everyone, yay! Okay. Now, there are those of you who are probably watching who know exactly what to do right now. Prepare yourselves and remember to go in. Don't go 2 in. Obviously, we don't want to spam it up, but just 1 is all you need to tell the world. But so yeah, the cute cuddly pig joining us like halfway through a very, very dark game. Nothing's gonna happen.
No.
Oh, he's completely safe. He's completely safe. There's no chance.
I mean, I do have a fitting donation for this.
Oh?
A $20 donation by Numbskull. Best of luck to these 2 masters of IOG. I probably didn't time this right, but Bowie rip, Bowie rip, Bowie rip, Bowie rip.
So yeah, we go to this natives village and find loads of skeletons. You can see the heat wave affecting everyone. It turns out that these characters here are cannibals. There's no food anymore, so they're really struggling.
Yeah,
so they're eating each other.
They do try to censor it a fair bit as far as kind of what these people are, but they did miss a few spots.
Yeah, but so we get beaten up and put in ropes, and they're sitting there with a big old pig being like nice. But the pig escapes and looks at Kara, and Kara's like, "You look sad. Why?" And it is time because bacon. No, Bowie rip. Hamlet sacrifices himself to be food for these starving, emaciated villagers, and then at which point a ghost, a spirit, comes out of Hamlet, which turns out to be Will's mother.
Yeah. So you remember, we found out near the start, though, that Will's dad is a flute.
Oh, yeah.
At least was talking to him from a flute, and now Will's mother is a pig. Or talking to him through a pig.
Yeah.
So, some unique lineage there.
Yeah. Completely normal family unit. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Now we're going to my favorite dungeon in the game.
Mine too.
Angkor Wat.
Very hard dungeon as well.
Yeah, very difficult dungeon. Yeah.
Very long, too.
Yeah.
Even with doing a couple skips.
So we're going to be using a lot of this move to kind of get around quickly.
Yeah,
we take a lot of damage
Because
here.
whenever they're in just a really long room where they have to move just a long distance that doesn't have a lot of kind of zigzag back and forth or changes, it does, even with you having to stop to charge up a spin dash, the boost in speed you get from it saves time.
This is a very tight input, and it's almost as tight as cast off. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, missed it. Yep, missed it. That's fine. These things happen. Yeah, you can do that without having to dodge out of the way, but I missed one input, but you can do 1, 2, and then move to the right and finish him off before anything happens. And funnily enough, you can actually slide through that one without actually having to do the orb cancel. It's one of the few screens that they actually didn't need you to do that. I don't know why, but it's definitely a thing.
Nice little pit of bugs there, too, that he fell into.
I definitely thought there was something else, I won't lie to you. I have no idea what they are. Everyone's asked me, like, what is that? Do you have any idea, Zheal?
What?
The room full of the things that go when you walk on them.
Scarabs, I guess.
Oh, scarabs. Okay. It's a good shout. I like it. Because scarabs whenever you walk on them, of course. Channeling the Ganondorf. Okay, so this room is lovely in terms of movement. Again, it's one of those ones that you have to get a clean amount of double taps in. Ugh. There you go. So we're going to charge up here. And I noticed that she uses a very different strat in that room to me, which is very nice. So we can use that to bounce across, and then we're going to be grabbing Freedan for the first and only time in this dungeon. So Freedan does get used, but, Will's just so much more.
Yeah, there's actually an upgrade for Freedan in this dungeon, too, called the Earthquaker. Best upgrade in the game.
Yeah,
so best that we're going to be skipping it completely.
Yeah. The Earthquake is very hard in this category. It's a lot easier when 100%.
Yeah, because you have a spreading shot that lets you do the skip with a much kind of easier setup.
Thanks, mate. Taking damage isn't too bad right now, just because So here's the Quaker skip. This is very tough. So I'm going to just focus here.
So I believe what he's doing is just kind of quickly loading and unloading the golem near the top to get a hit without it kind of fully activating. Because when that happens, it actually creates an invisible wall that blocks off that hallway. Because you're intended to use the Earthquaker with Freedan, which when you jump off of a one layer onto another and press attack, it'll just paralyze all enemies on the screen. And that's the only kind of quote-unquote intended use of the Earthquaker.
Yeah, you can stun a bunch of enemies, but the actual usage is kind of rare because you actually need a spot to jump from to actually make it worthwhile, which is kind of annoying. Yeah,
and one kind of unique thing about Angkor Wat is that it has checkpoints in it that still count even if you don't have 100 dark gems, and Bowie just activated one of them there, and then went back and then took an intentional death in order to get rid of Freedan, along with refilling his health.
So this is the blind room.
Yeah, Yeah, it's not quite as bad as it looks, just because you can use the camera scrolling or lack thereof, along with the fact that you can see before the screen totally turns to white, as far as just kind of telling where you are and going around the corners. I mean, the lining up where you slide can be a little tricky, but it's not really that bad with a bit of practice.
Yeah. So I'm going to be taking 1 hit from the gold head, 2 hits from the purple heads, and don't worry, I'm fine. Rooted to the HP, because we're going to be doing a death warp on the way out again, so. I should note that when we've been going to new areas, we've been holding down the start button to skip the zoom out and zoom back in for all areas. It actually affects this cutscene. By skipping that out, it locks the mode 7 in this really, really low position, and it just completely knackers the cutscene. It's meant to be further out and show you the state of the world, and you can see this, like, very, very modern, the grey buildings, and to see what the world could be. So remember when I was talking about this game having multiple names, Illusion of Gaia and Illusion of Time. So the comet has kind of come by and kind of distorted the world itself and like how things look and how things feel, the illusion of Gaia. However, we're also in a very, very, very different time period than what actually is what we're meant to be, an illusion of time. So both names are very, very fitting, and I still prefer Time. I'm sorry.
I still don't even know why they changed the name, because Gaia is still in the European version of the game.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well,
I think as well because I think Gaia against Soki, I was having a chat with Seishura, and she was saying that it means like Chronicles of the Illusion of Gaia. So it's like, it's interesting. But
okay. So anyway, Bowie just got the Gorgon flower, which is the story item you came here for to cure the petrification disease afflicting the village you came from. And then unfortunately, though, because of those kind of hard checkpoints, as I call them, that work even if you have 100 dark gems, you can't just take a death warp to get all the way out of Angkor Wat. You do have to actually backtrack out. Because the checkpoints only activate when you go from kind of south to north through specific lines, and so it doesn't kind of back up when you go out.
I'll throw out the jump attack as well. Why not? Okay, so now we're here. We can do another orb cancel just to bosh, 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 1, 2, and then equip the Gorgon flower. Okay. And that's Angkor Wat. And now we're on to the final dungeon of the game, and at this point we're now 2 full dungeons out without any upgrades.
Yeah, Angkor Wat's also just really bizarre in that it's a dungeon that has unique music and that kind of explorer's face logo and the overworld, but there's no boss. And that is not good, because it means we are just really, really underleveled for the pyramid coming up, which is a big part of why it's I would call it the most difficult part of the speed run besides the vampires.
We take a lot of damage. I think maybe like 3-4 hits, and we're done pretty much. So we have to be very, very careful. Okay, so we're gonna make our way to Dao Village first, and there's loads of stuff you can get to figure out puzzles going on. Funnily enough, the actual order that we need to do, there's like a puzzle where you get 6 tiles in the pyramid and you have to put them in order. Funnily enough, they're actually in the order that you would acquire them from left to right in terms of the rooms. But the hardest part of the game is the very, very first room we do in the pyramid, which is room 3, which
the fun room.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult, and Zheal and I were practicing it a lot beforehand. But yeah, so I'm going to focus. So if there are any donations, or if Zheal wants to add anything on top, then
I'm going to focus as well.
Yeah, I'll try to do some play-by-play when I can.
All
so
right.
this is actually the one required place where you actually have to talk to Gaia, and that's because this is actually where you finally get your second transformation form, because we were Freedan for a lot of the game, but now we also get Shadow, who's meant to be kind of the ultimate warrior of darkness. And Shadow only actually has one special ability aside from just having the highest attack power in the game, and that's the aura, which lets you kind of dissolve and melt into the ground. And that's required to kind of drip through specific types of floors in the pyramid, but it also gives you some invincibility while doing that, along with the potential to do an attack glitch later. So because Shadow only has access to melee attacks, and just because of how behind you are in health and defense here. And the fact that there's these laser orbs in the pyramid that have a really deadly ranged attack. I mean, his timing just needs to be so precise with his dashes and attacks in order to get past these orbs without just getting comboed to death.
So that orb can move left again, which can be quite tricky, but we got through it. Well, what I'm doing now is when you attack and then press the aura button to cancel, you do what's called an attack aura cancel, which allows you to hold into your active hitbox, and so you can like hit enemies and like frame perfectly, which allows me to be safe, and you land with a hit onto the enemy, and you can run out whilst he's still flashing.
that Birdman moves around and just can and will just camp out under you and make you take damage otherwise. Let Bowie get through this room, and then maybe have a couple donations. Just 'cause, yeah.
Pulled it too early, Bowie. It's okay.
Yeah, good luck. This is really rough.
Fortunately, the orbs can only shoot left and right, though, so if you can get above or below one, you're safe.
Yeah, that's one of my personal demons with Room 3, is that you can, you have to kind of like attack and run through them, but it's such a tight window, I find. I mean, I think there are other runners who are fine, but I struggle with that one. But.
And then probably the most difficult set of orbs is a group of 6 of them that's at the very bottom of this room. And then there's a very, well, at least when I ran this, the setup I used for that was actually discovered by PJ, as far as kind of lining yourself up with either the top or upper bottom of the hallway until you get the orbs to load, and then swinging down in order to kind of aggro the next one when you're close enough that you can close the distance and set up a stun lock before they hit you. All right, so good luck, Bowie. A safe setup there. All right, you should be good. All right, very nice.
I took a hit at the very end because I
yeah, fortunately, there is this kind of a safe strat you can use with any orb actually, where if it's just barely on screen, you can see its shots, but then they immediately despawn, and because they fire at a kind of a fixed intervals, you can use that to kind of give yourself the maximum amount of time possible to close the distance.
Okay, so that's room 3 done. We've got 2 more rooms to do with Shadow, and then we do the other 3 rooms with Will. We don't need Freedan anymore, so we've already seen Freedan for the last time. Sorry, Freedan.
And then optimally, you do all of this without ever healing, too, outside of any medical herbs you happen to have. Because if you really need to, you can go back into the dark space and get a full heal from Gaia, but that does cost time.
Yeah, there's 2 potential parts where RNG can just hit you, so I want to have 2 hits.
All right, Zheal coming up in the 6th group now. Very nice.
Perfect. Okay, so there's a few more like really tricky, quick iframe attacks to get through. So here we go.
Getting past room 3 is a huge sigh of relief because the rest of the pyramid is not easy, but it's a lot more manageable.
That's not okay. I've got 1 hit, and I mean, might as well go for it, right? Yeah, this is dangerous.
Hey, you went in the door, too.
Thank you, yeah. I always, when I'm practicing the pyramid, don't grab the hieroglyph stones, so I'm pretty sure one day I'm going to do a run on pace and just go straight into the pool without grabbing the stone.
You can make some pretty epic victory poses with Shadow, by the way, too, by attacking while grabbing the hieroglyph. It's just for fun, basically.
So room 5 is actually kind of tricky because, as I said, there's 2 RNG spots where you can get hit if the game's really mean to you. Getting hit twice is very rare. I said that now, touch wood, just because it's a game.
Yeah, another little trick with the orbs too is that if you hit one when it's right about to fire, it does delay its shot until after the hit stun wears off, so you can kind of.
You have a herb still, right?
No, I used it.
Oh, then.
You can use that to buy yourself a bit of extra time to get past.
There is a frame
now to the last one.
Yeah, there's a frame perfect spot here where I can go straight through the door, but you know, we'll see. Come on, game. Be nice to me. This is a risk I've taken, so if it bites me in the arse, it bites me in the arse. He is very, very far out. Good!
Nice.
Clap for RNG. Yeah, that would have unfortunately been a pretty costly death if that Birdman had got him.
Mm-hmm.
Don't feel this?
My heart was pounding when you said that. you can fail the iframe attack there and get knackered again, so...
Alright, so Bowie is done with the 3 shadow rooms. 2 of the rooms require will specifically because of having ramps you need the spin dash for, and then room 6 you could do with any character, but it's both fastest and easiest to do it with will. Also, once you're done with shadow, you can actually start taking intentional deaths to get out of these rooms, because if you die in the pyramid, you just go back to the hub for the 6 doors, and they didn't do that with shadow because then they'd have had to go back in the dark space to become shadow again. But when you're using will, you can just do that, and that also gives you all your health back.
Yeah, the shadow section is much harder than will.
Because now you can just spin dash through the enemies.
I got a damageless shadow.
Nice, man. Perfect. Damageless shadow is good.
And then, the structure of the pyramid, by the way, you have to go through all 6 of these rooms to get the hieroglyph stones, and then you put them into a puzzle, basically, in order to open the way to the boss. What order you do them in doesn't really matter.
Yeah, the most optimal is to do the 3 first, then 2, and then go over to the right-hand side, become will afterwards, and then do the 2 on this side. Just because it's different in 100% because you need to get a red jewel, so you actually go and do 3-5-2 for 100%. Because you need to get a red jewel after you do the room 2 thing, which is a jump down from where it is. So taking damage isn't too scary, but again, you don't want to take too much. You want to take like 1 or 2 hits going through, so you can keep yourself safe, as I say, because we want to be death warping with will.
And then it never ceases to amuse me that these scary-looking spiked crusher ceilings do all of 1 damage if they touch you.
So you have to you have to get this into this. You have to run down and get onto the other side to be able to get here without any problems.
You do need to stop your spin dashes and charge up new ones at those 2 specific spots in order to just kind of make it all the way without trouble.
Whew, okay.
Yeah, and you don't want to be at full health at this point too, because in order to if he wants to take the death warp now, and if his health is so high that the ceiling hits him before the orbs drain all of his health, then he'll start taking 1 damage from the ceiling instead of a bajillion from the orbs.
A bajillion is a good shout. Certainly true. Okay, so.
And then I believe the reason this one is done last is just because there aren't enemies convenient to take damage from right after the hieroglyph.
Pretty much, yeah. It's also because you can just go straight. You can just go straight out the pool that's like next to the door. You can take 1 hit here because you're gonna die in 2 hits anyway to the Mummy Queen.
Yeah, it does a whopping, I think, 16 damage per hit to you. So there is that bit of challenge factor, but I wouldn't. Other than that, I wouldn't really call the Mummy Queen one of the harder bosses in the game with enough practice.
Yeah, she's fairly simple. She can be a little bit tricky, and I'm not going to again touch wood because you can always lose runs to her. So I'm going to hopefully not be bad. So let's take us back. What an hour and a half? I said to you that the Jackal would be showing up so many times. There he is. An hour and a half later, he finally shows his face. You actually can talk to him. Oh, no, not talk to him, but you can talk to NPCs and they tell you about him, so he does actually have a part, but he's completely irrelevant for the entirety of the game. And he shows up and he says, hey.
Because he's been stalking you ever since you escaped from Edward's prison, basically, and you'll find his calling card at various points in towns, but yeah, this is your one and only required interaction with him, and what an interaction it is.
Yep, we are going to play a lovely melody that our grandmother taught us. It's a lovely song.
Yeah.
It's a lovely song.
Now, Final Fantasy IX has melodies of life. This game has melodies of
Lola.
something else.
Again, this is a game for kids. It's very harrowing just seeing him just kind of like crumble to the ground and then just slowly, Kara.
Yeah, it's when it's him with like his quivering hand reaching for her is the part that gets me too.
Yep.
Bowie rip.
You could come here and place hieroglyphs earlier, but you need all 6 to get to the boss, and then you also only get this cutscene after you have all 6 of them.
So now we have to do a big menu. Bird leg key.
There's a journal you can get in Dao Village that tells you what the order to put these in, but it's actually just it's the order of the doors that you find them in, just from left to right is the solution. Alright, so then you could just go straight into that portal and fight the Mummy Queen as well, but
That's a very, very
that
bad
would be
idea.
a very bad idea, just because you're only able to hit the Mummy Queen once per cycle, basically, and your Shadow does 3 damage per hit, as opposed to 2 for Dan and 1 for Will, so yeah, there's no reason not to use Shadow for this.
Yeah. Final fun fact, the Japanese version, if you use Quaker, she actually stuns forever, and you can actually take her down in 1 Quaker, which is actually a much better version. But it doesn't really help. But come on, move down.
A little bit of RNG at the start, because yeah, you don't want to really see this at the start of the fight. But once you're past the first hit, you can just kind of set up a loop where you can either just dodge the ghosts or use the aura to get invincibility through them, and then just kind of get her to cycle back and forth across the room. It gets a lot more interesting once she's below half health, though, because then she has I believe a 75% chance to do a new attack where the ghosts form in a ring, and then a 25 to keep doing this. And optimally, we want the ring for every hit, but if we get that, then that can make it a little interesting at one point as far as trying to dodge her hit.
I want her to move up as well, because the lower she gets, the more tricky this becomes.
It sounds like Zheal's getting the earthquake start too.
Okay, I'm halfway down now, so on to the next cycle.
So when the ring forms, hopefully, yep. It's always the ghost in the lower left that's the real one, and you can, and then ideally the whole rest of the fight is just the ring spreads out, you hit it, and then hit her, and kind of repeat until you win.
Had to open it up, unfortunately.
But yeah, remember, you die in 2 hits, so just caution is nice. All right, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, only 1 spreading ghost pattern is pretty decent luck, too. All right, 1 more hit, and then, or I guess 2 more hits, actually, for Zheal, because it's when you hit her when she starts at below half health. Those pattern of 8 blocks in the middle of the room can make it a little interesting as far as whether you just take a hit on the chin or try to dodge it at one point.
Okay, so the final dungeon now on my side is Tower of Babel, which is it's just a boss rush. So we're going to be fighting all the bosses again. Every boss other than the Mummy Queen is going to be a bit of a blowout, really. There's again, RNG plays a factor for the vampires and Sandfanger. You want 2 eggs and you can clear him completely. That's not going to happen. But yeah, so it's a bit of a... It's alright.
It was pretty unlucky. Had 4 bad cycles.
Yeah.
And then the boss rush is not really that difficult to survive too, just because you now have almost max stats after beating the Mummy Queen. You've just gotten 3 full dungeons worth of stat increases, and all they're really missing are 2 HP from the Red Jewel side quest, and also from waiting in line for 2 minutes in Euro, which is something I'm glad doesn't need to be done.
Yeah.
Along with just a very small number of hidden strength and defense upgrades in the game.
Once more for good luck, we're going to charge those parachutes. Hadn't been there in a year and a half. When you're 14, that really is a long time. Well, Will's 14, by the way. I don't know if you were doing this at 14, but... So at the beginning, we had to go to Edward's castle because he wanted the crystal ring. He was like, please bring me the crystal ring. You're like, oh, yeah, sure, but you don't have it. But at this point, we're going to run into a little beam here, and a little item's going to drop out. And wow, wouldn't you guess it? It's the crystal ring. Now, we also found another ring on the Incan gold ship. So we've actually had this ring all the time. It's been lodged in the flute, and for some reason, just whacking the flute over a million enemies didn't dislodge it, but hitting that did. So now we have a crystal ring. Kara, you saw the foreshadowing. There's a second parachute. Kara joins us, and he's like, "Why have you come here? You can't come here without the crystal ring." But Kara still has the other ring. She's got a light blue crystal ring, and Will's got a dark blue crystal ring. And then Will he finally understands what it means. There are those 6 mystic statues, 3 for dark, 3 for light. They're the relics of the Dark Knights. And it's just kind of dawned on Will what it means. So now he needs to go with Kara to fulfill their destiny. So we're going to try and get a 1 cycle here on Castoth again.
Unfortunately, it's actually pretty easy to do as Shadow.
Oh, poor Axel. You ruined the joke. No, we always like to play. No, it's fine. It's fine. We always like to play a joke with like, yes, 1 cycle, but it's completely free because we deal 1 damage more per hit, and his AI doesn't change. So
yeah, and the hands have less health too.
Yeah, it's just 1 hit.
All that's really changed is that he shoots 2 crystals, and getting the 1 cycle without taking damage yourself kind of requires them to both be on the same pattern.
Yeah. 1 cycle! Yeah! That's all good. Whew. So that's Castoth down. Viper again. You can take a hit from Viper if you're being like super aggressive, but again, he's not too dangerous. But all these bosses are pretty, as I say, they're a bit of a blowout just because you can just murder them so badly with how strong Shadow is.
What do you think? We have a bit of time for donations in this case.
Yeah. By the way, shoutouts to the Quintet Starfield background, which we saw in RoboTrek before the final boss yesterday. Now it's behind the boss rush. Bowie using the aura attack glitch on Viper there.
Yeah, it just gives us a little bit of extra hits. You can finish him a little bit faster by getting some more hits on the first cycle, but yeah.
1 cycle.
Such a god.
Yes.
Damage less even.
Yeah, well, yeah, you did better than me. So now the fights actually get a little bit harder because the vampires, they have a property that's added back in. So when you fight them originally, they don't have a hitbox on their body. They do now. So it actually makes this fight a lot harder, much harder. But again, we can do the attack or a cancel to get hits on them when they are stuck. Specifically, when the woman's stuck in on the junctions. The man's a little bit harder to catch out, but
yeah, because you can read the moves of the female vampire just based on those limitations Bowie just mentioned. Yeah, very nice setup for aura attack there. If you hit one of the vampires when it's moving too, that does cause them to stop and deploy one of their shields too. Really so you can use that to set up getting some hits with the attack glitch.
Took 1 damage, but that was really quick. I managed to get full.
That was a good vampire refight, yeah.
Full aura cancel. Now here's our best friend,
yes,
who was kind to me the last time, but
yeah, because the RNG isn't quite as bad here because you do 3 damage per hit. And you only need really 1 kind of really good egg cycle to get a fast fight, but
2 ideal off the bat is kind of perfect RNG.
He does seem to really like to save that for like when he has 1 health left or something too, though.
Oh, I thought he was going up there because you can kind of tell what he's going to do based on the distance he starts spawning, like the bit below. Mr. Hits.
Not cooperating at all for Bowie, because the Sandfanger is dead after if and when it gets to the next cycle. Yeah, there we go.
Cool, Sandfanger down. One more fight, and that's a refight against the Mummy Queen once again.
Yeah,
and then
I believe that version of the Mummy Queen does technically do more damage to you, but because your stats got caught up, I mean, it's way, way easier in the speedrun. Also, the room layout's a little more friendly in the refight too, because you don't have that set of blocks at the bottom.
Yeah, that's a big thing actually.
Also, if you're wondering why one of the bosses we've beaten twice is now our transportation,
Quintet.
we do too.
Mummy Queen refight. So you can take more than one hit this time without having to cack yourself, but that's fine. Man, it's so scary that first fight because it's just it's fairly all right, but it just feels so scary when you have like one more. If you know that you just can't take any more hits, no matter how much HP you have.
Alright, hopefully we get. Hopefully Sandfanger cooperates a bit better for Zheal.
Kind of.
I cannot even get the normal hit in.
Unfortunately, being a bit of a jerk.
Yeah, Sandfanger's not been nice to Zheal, unfortunately. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
I think it was like roughly the same as mine there.
So again, once Mummy Queen's below half health, she starts having RNG as far as which ghost pattern she gives. We'd like it to be all rings.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't. Off the top of my head, I think it's maybe like feels like about 8 seconds difference between having to do a spread and a ring. Could be more.
It gets a bit harder to keep her under control if she gets away from you too. It's because the ring bounces off the wall in a pretty major way.
How It's fine. She's gonna spawn right here.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay. Now there's just one boss left, and that's Dark Gaia. But before we need to do that, we need to have an interesting encounter, which will unlock all of the mysteries that have been left. Which, if you've been paying attention, you still wouldn't have any idea about. Don't worry. Same here. Yeah. So now, just like Viper, the male vampire was also helping us. I think it's just because we whooped him so hard. It's like, all right, right, here you go. So, yeah, Kara disappeared suddenly. There she is. You may notice as well that Kara doesn't have a running animation. She's power walking like a champion right now. She does have a running animation. The characters in this game do have running animations, but they're in the credits of the game. So this is Ullman. He's just a pile of bones, which is not great. Bible thump. It's not great, yeah, no, I mean, like any other situation. So he's explaining what's happening here. His spirit was able to stay because of Tower of Babel and kind of the power that is, I guess because of, the heritage as well. So he explains that Will is a member of the Dark Knight clan and Kara is a member of the Light Knight clan, and they together.
Very nice fight, yeah. Had one spreading ghost, but yeah, every ring was really cleanly executed. Yeah.
They have the power to basically, they're kind of the power that balances the world out. So what's happening is that there's a comet that's going by the world right now, and that's distorting everything, and that's because of the power of Dark Gaia. And this is the time when the Dark and Light Knights come together and fuse their power to take down the Dark Gaia. So. And they talk about how, like, all these powers, like, this is why camels have humps and can store water, because of this amazing, wonderful power.
Yeah, probably do a couple donations too while we're wrapping up, learning about the Firebird and heading to the comet to fight Dark Gaia.
Certainly. Alrighty. So we do have quite a few donations. Once again, a lot of them say much love and support towards the game, towards Bowie, towards Zheal, and also Puex on the card. So you guys are doing a great job. Thank you very much. And we do have specifically Mark with a C with a $20 donation. Bowie, you've absolutely got this. From Dela, Nims, and the rest of the deliverables.
Thank you very much, Mark.
We're rooting for you, and we're always so proud of you.
Thank you very much indeed.
And we have a $25 donation by our one and only Big Fong Balls. Bowie, I just wanted to tell you how proud I am to see you grow up into a wonderful young man. It seems like ages ago that Stinger and Jaga had to carry your dead weight in Sigurd of Mana, but now you are here, ready to win it all at IOG. Good luck, buddy.
Cheers, Vic.
And
That's true.
we do have another $100 donation by Space Lancer, Jericho168. Thanks to everyone at the event for their support and work towards raising awareness for these issues. My own counseling is starting next week, and I dare say it's thanks to Bowie and his community that I found the strength to take that step. Good luck and Godspeed to both. And Zheal? France him. Oh, and something Jibbimat.
Alright, so Bowie coming up on the final fight here. Dark Gaia has two forms, Comet and True Form. Comet, not really too dangerous or difficult, but a little slow, unfortunately, just because it's totally cycle-based and there's no way to get multiple hits per cycle.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, and then he like rains down this like green like bolts on you, so you have to be careful. After the 8th, we can use Aura Cancel to dodge the rest. And then we're safe.
Yeah, and then you can also do an aura attack in order to kind of get the last hit on the first frame that it's possible. And then by the time is going to be when Dark Gaia's second health bar hits 0, by the way, too.
Yeah.
And then for the second form, this seems impossible at first when you play this game until you find out that you can actually block her homing shots like that. So this is also cycle-based. You can only actually hurt Dark Gaia when she's about to shoot her mega laser at you like that. And it does a lot of damage, even at max stats, so you do want to make sure to melt to avoid it. And then the quick kill for Dark Gaia Phase 2 is actually 3 cycles, but you need to get 5 hits per cycle in order to do that, and that's very much not easy.
One more.
I believe Bowie has a shot at the 3 cycle. He gets 5 hits. There's a bit of RNG with when the cycles start and end too. And
Come on!
time! Good job, sir. Would have been sub 2 without the safety save.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah, why did you say that?
Awesome run, sir.
Thank you very much. Let's go, Zheal.
Yeah, let's see another 3 round here.
Wonderful.
All right,
he's
so
got
yeah,
it.
he's
got
got
I'm safe.
it's totally secure now because he got 2 5-hit rounds. And time.
That was really, really good.
Yeah, good job. Really good race, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. This is a really, really, really brilliant speed run. It's one of my favorite speed run to do, I think. I've been doing it for 6 years now, and it's a pleasure to. I mean, this guy came out of nowhere, and within 6 months was nipping at my heels. By 7 months, had beaten me, and yeah, it's been a pleasure to watch this guy come and just like take it by a storm. It was really weird because like Hulk was the only sub 2 ever for like I think like 4 years. And then like I managed to get my sub 2 last year, and then like Zheal just did it in record time, and he beat me to the 58. So it's been amazing to kind of have Zheal come out of nowhere and be this wonderful like motivation to keep playing the game. So thank you very much for
It was a
for
pleasure.
racing
It was
with
an
me as well.
honor to run this thing.
Man, yeah. And Prexel, like the legend that got me here in the first place. So thank you very much for joining us on the
thanks.
couch. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, you're one of those.
Actually, my first inspiration for running this game was beating you.
Oh, okay.
That was my first goal
Yeah,
in 100%.
Mm-hmm.
No, it meant a lot to get to do that run. So, this mother and father spirits, and then they tell you that everything's going to go back to normal, and then it does.
Yeah, ending to this game is about 20 minutes, and unfortunately, the really good music and graphics don't kick in until about halfway through.
Yeah.
It's just talk.
It was, yeah. It's all this length, but eventually Gaia reshapes itself, and the world comes back to normal, and it looks like our world, and it becomes a modern day as well. And then, as happy school kids, they run out. Don't make sure to look before you cross the roads. And yeah, and that's it. So, thank you again, Zheal, for this. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It was
Thanks so
awesome.
much indeed.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon.
Indeed. Thank you very much to BOWIEtheHERO, Zheal for the fantastic race, and also Prexel on the couch for the great commentary. This was a pleasure to watch. And I'm gonna be reading a few more donation comments. Once again, we've received them all, but there's just so many that we can't possibly read all of them. Let's go with this one by Gunarmdine for $125. And it says, Punarmdine here. It's been nice up here, but as has been raining down at my place this week. While I won't have to water my lawn, I'll have to kneel down and pull weeds sooner rather than later, since those things never give a Gaia break. Or maybe just hire a neighborhood kid to do so and have him bill me. Then again, it still beats the cold and freezier weather we were having just last week, so it's easy to care about it now. But I promised shorter comments, so no need to yak or babble on for too long. Good luck to both Zheal and Bowie on the race. So, as we all know, it takes a strong will to achieve this highly technical run. May the winner be able to proudly declare, game, set, and match. And of course, if the solid enemy you can run into is a snake instead of an arm, you're playing the wrong game. Thank you very much, Punarmdine. So, and we are going to be running a quick commercial break, and then we will be setting up for the next run. Thank you very much for watching RPG Limit Break 2019, where we are supporting NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness that is helping fight the stigma and also raise awareness for mental advocacy and troubles and all those kinds of things. It is a really great cause. So, I was your host, Jackal. I will be giving over to the next host, Tagaze. And, well, I wish you a pleasant stay. Enjoy your watch and view, and maybe until next time. And, well, do stick around for the next game, because I believe Star Ocean The Last Hope HD Remaster is quite a formidable watch as well.
We should be back from that ad break. My name is Takaze. I'll be hosting for this next run Star Ocean The Last Hope by some DDR noob. We had a lot of donations during that quite close race between Zheal and Bowie, so I'm gonna try to catch up on some of them. We have $20 from Don Forgo. First time coming to this event. Love it. This race is close and exciting. We have $20 from Matthew. Loving the marathon. Good luck to all runner and tech crew sleep schedules. I appreciate that. We have $25 from Wells. Good luck, Illusion of Gaia. Donation goes to winner's choice, unless it's Bowie or Zheal. Then the runner can choose. We always appreciate you wishing the games luck, Wells. We have $10 from Vittoria. Loving this race so far. Best luck to both runners as you barrel to the end. Donation to winner choice. And while we're setting up for Star Ocean, I wanted to go over some of the incentives that we have for it. We have quite a few. A few of them are going to get cut off right as the game starts, and then we have a bunch of naming incentives that will close as the run goes on. So at the moment, we have enabling or disabling enemy voices. That is currently set to enable with $48.30. We also have the voice language for Star Ocean. Right now it's $50 at Japanese and nothing for English, so if someone wants to see that English voice, go ahead and get that donation in soon. And the last one that we'll be cutting off as soon as the run starts is the menu style between Classic and Modern. Right now we have Classic in the lead at $90 and Modern at $45, so not much time to get that in. And we also have plenty of naming incentives. We have the first characters that we'll be naming are Edge and Raimi. Edge is quite in the lead with Claude at $580, so you have to donate a lot if you want to beat Claude here. Raimi is also another name that can be donated for. Right now we have Not Sefi at $100. Both of those will be cut off pretty at the start of the run, pretty much. Maybe you might get 5 minutes as the run starts to get those in. The next character that we'll be naming is FaZe. Right now there's only one donation for Aya Brea at $15. If our memory serves me correctly, that's the character from Parasite Eve. That's the only name in the bid right now, so if you want to upstage her, go ahead and get those donations in. We have $20 from Bro Hype. As one that are suffering from depression, how can I not donate what I can at least? Thank you for what you do. Also, give me that SNES Classic. Thank you for your donation. We have $10 from VitNet. Looking forward to that Suikoden run. Good luck, Zero. Suikoden will be after Star Ocean. One of the other characters that can be named in Star Ocean is everybody's favorite cat girl, Miracle. Right now the race is really close between the two. With $50 and 1 cent, we have, I don't even really know if you can pronounce this, but it's the OWO emoticon. And at $50, we have Meowcat. So, if Meowcat, you want to win, you just need just a little bit to push you over the edge. I imagine that that's going to be back and forth between the two as we go through the run. We'll have about an hour into the run before the cutoff for that name happens.